Ethan gasped for air as smoke filled his lungs. The sound of burning metal screamed around him. Sparks danced through the air like tiny dying stars. His head throbbed, and for a moment he could not remember where he was. The ground beneath him was shaking. Something had crashed, something huge. He tried to stand, his armor cracked and covered in dark ash. The emergency lights on his wrist flickered weakly. Through the red haze he could see the twisted walls of what used to be a ship, not his own. The surface was smooth, glowing faintly with strange blue veins that pulsed like living tissue. Then he remembered. The sky, the flash, the explosion. The alien ship had fallen. Ethan was the only one close enough to reach it before the others. He had thought there might be survivors. He had thought he could help. Now, as the air grew thick and hot, he wasn't sure if he had made a terrible mistake. He turned on his helmet light. The beam cut through the smoke, showing what looked like a corridor. The floor was slick with something dark, something that shimmered under the light. It wasn't blood. Not human blood, at least. He took a careful step forward. The metal under his boots made a hollow sound. The deeper he went, the quieter everything became. The fire behind him faded, leaving only a soft hum like the ship itself was whispering in its sleep. Then he heard it. A voice. Soft, weak, trembling. "Please, don't remove my clothes." Ethan froze. His heart skipped a beat. The voice came from ahead, echoing through the broken corridor. It was a girl's voice, and young, frightened but not human. There was something too clear, too melodic about it. He raised his weapon, scanning the shadows. "Who's there?" He called, his voice hoarse, no answer. Only the same sound again, quieter this time. "Please, don't remove my clothes." Ethan moved toward the sound. His light found a small chamber at the end of the hallway. The walls curved like the inside of a living creature, soft and glistening. In the center of the room lay a figure. It was her. An alien girl. She looked almost human. Almost. Her skin was pale silver, glowing faintly, and her hair was white like moonlight. A strange suit covered her body, torn and melted in places. Her eyes opened when the light hit her, wide and bright like liquid glass. She looked at Ethan with terror. "Don't. Please," she whispered again. "Don't take them off." Ethan lowered his weapon, trying to understand. She was hurt badly. A piece of metal was stuck near her ribs, glowing faint blue around the wound. Her breathing was fast and shallow. "It's okay," he said softly, his soldier's training taking over. "You're safe now. I won't hurt you." But she shook her head weakly, tears gathering in her glowing eyes. "You don't understand," she said. "If you touch the suit, if you see what's under it, it will change you." Her words made no sense to him. He thought maybe she was in shock. Maybe she didn't want him to see the wound. He moved closer, kneeling beside her. The heat from her skin was strange, not warm like a human's, but pulsing, almost electric. Ethan checked his medpack. Half the tools were useless for alien biology, but he couldn't just leave her to die. He reached out to inspect the damage to her armor. "Stop," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Please, don't remove it." Her hand reached for his arm, weak but desperate. He paused, meeting her eyes. For a second, he saw something there, not just fear, but sorrow. Deep, endless sorrow. Then the ship groaned. The walls shifted. A burst of sparks fell from above. The temperature was rising fast. If he didn't help her soon, the whole chamber could collapse. "I need to stop the bleeding," he said. "I don't have a choice." She looked away, whispering something he couldn't understand in her language. Soft, broken words that sounded like a prayer. As he leaned in, his light caught strange symbols on her skin where the suit was torn. Glowing marks that moved almost like they were alive. His pulse quickened. He felt something inside him twist, a sudden fear he couldn't explain. Still, he pressed on. He told himself she was just another life to save. That was his duty, but in the back of his mind something whispered, "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't touch her." Then she spoke again, almost in tears now. "Please, don't remove my clothes." And Ethan, hearing the pain in her voice, felt his hands tremble, because deep inside he already knew. Whatever she was hiding under that alien armor wasn't meant for human eyes, and seeing it might destroy him. The air inside the alien ship grew heavy, thick with heat and the smell of burning metal. The walls hissed softly, leaking small streams of blue gas that shimmered like mist. Every breath Ethan took felt sharp, as if the air itself did not want him there. The alien girl lay still on the floor, her breathing shallow and uneven. The glowing wound near her ribs pulsed with strange light, spreading through her body like living veins of silver fire. Ethan crouched beside her, sweat rolling down his face. He wanted to save her, and that was all. He didn't care what planet she was from or what side she had fought for. She was alive. She was scared. That was enough, but her words still echoed in his mind. Please, don't remove my clothes. He could not understand why she was so afraid of that. Ethan activated his translator, a small device clipped to his armor, but it only hissed with static when she spoke in her strange musical voice. Whatever language she used, it was beyond human systems. I need to help you, he said clearly, slowly, hoping she could at least feel the tone of his voice. You're bleeding. You'll die if I don't act. The alien girl opened her eyes, glowing faint white. She stared at him like someone looking into a storm they knew they couldn't escape. Her lips trembled. You can't help me, she whispered. You don't know what I am. Her voice shook, not with pride, but with fear. Deep, raw fear. Ethan frowned. You're hurt. That's all I know. I can treat a wound. Let me... Before he could finish, the ship shuddered violently. The floor tilted and pieces of ceiling fell around them. Sparks lit the chamber, followed by the deep rumble of engines failing. He grabbed the girl and pulled her away from a falling beam. She winced in pain but didn't fight him. Her body felt light, too light, like she was made of something fragile, something that didn't belong to this world. When the shaking stopped, she was breathing harder. A soft blue liquid ran down her side, glowing faintly in the dark. Ethan's heart pounded. He had to stop the bleeding somehow. He tore open a strip of fabric from his sleeve and pressed it against the wound. She cried out, clutching his wrist weakly. Don't touch it. Her scream was sharp, echoing through the metal walls. The sound made his bones vibrate. He froze. I'm trying to save you. Her eyes widened, tears glimmering like crystal. You don't understand. It's not blood. It's alive. Ethan looked closer and saw she was right. The liquid was moving. Tiny silver shapes swirled inside it like dust in water. They pulsed, spreading light up her arm and across his hand where the cloth touched her. He jerked his hand back. His fingers tingled with warmth. What is this? He whispered. The girl's voice grew softer. It's part of me. It keeps me whole. If it touches you, it remembers you. Her words made no sense, but something in her eyes told him it wasn't madness. She believed it. The light from her body began to dim, flickering like a candle about to die. Ethan looked at her suit again. It was made of a strange material, half fabric, half metal. It was melting, revealing more of those glowing patterns underneath. If he didn't act soon, she'd bleed out, or whatever her version of bleeding was. I can't just watch you die, he said firmly. Tell me what to do. She looked up at him, lips pale. Promise me one thing, she said slowly. If you see what's under, you must never tell anyone. Never. Ethan nodded. I promise. Her gaze softened, but her tears didn't stop. Humans shouldn't see us like this. It breaks your kind. He didn't understand, but he could see her strength fading. He pulled a plasma knife from his belt, its blade glowing faint orange, and started to cut away the ruined armor near the wound. The girl tried to move, whispering, Please, no. But her voice was too weak now. As the blade sliced through the alien suit, a wave of cold air burst from underneath. It wasn't normal cold. It felt alive, crawling over his skin like invisible fingers. The light inside the room dimmed, and for a moment, it felt like the ship itself stopped breathing. He peeled back a piece of the armor, and what he saw beneath made his heart freeze. Her skin wasn't just glowing anymore. It was changing, moving, like light trapped inside liquid glass. The shapes under her skin twisted slowly, forming symbols he couldn't recognize. Her eyes snapped open, bright and wild. You shouldn't have done that, she cried. Then the ship roared again, this time louder, as if something deep inside had awakened. Ethan stumbled back, staring in shock. The light from her body spread across the floor like a living shadow, crawling toward him, and through the noise and terror he heard her voice one last time. Soft but filled with pain. You don't understand, human. You just doomed yourself. Ethan stumbled back, his heart hammering in his chest. The light that spilled from the alien girl's body was alive. It moved across the ground like a stream of liquid stars. The symbols glowing beneath her skin pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat made of light. The air was heavy and cold now, though the ship was still burning. His breath fogged in front of him, mixing with the faint blue mist leaking from the walls. He wanted to run. Every instinct in his body screamed to get out, to leave this strange dying ship before it tore itself apart. But when he looked at her, lying weak and trembling on the ground, he couldn't move. She looked small, fragile, lost. The human part of him, the soldier trained to protect, couldn't just abandon her. Even if she wasn't human, even if she had something inside her that scared him, he knelt beside her again. "You're dying," he said. His voice shook. "If I don't help, you'll be gone in minutes." The girl's eyes fluttered open. They glowed softly, the color of frozen moonlight. Her lips trembled. "Maybe. I should die." The words hit him like a punch. "Don't say that," she gave a small, broken smile. "You don't understand what I carry. My kind, we don't die empty." Ethan didn't understand. He didn't want to. He only saw a wounded being who needed help. "Then I'll carry it with you," he said. "Just tell me what to do." She turned her face away. "You already did," she whispered. The lights under her skin began to spread again, faster this time, forming lines across her body like ancient writing. The glow climbed up her neck and across her arms. Ethan reached out and grabbed her hand. It felt cold, but it pulsed with faint energy, like a heartbeat against his palm. "Listen," he said, his voice firm now. "We can both live through this. I can take you to my base. We have med tech. I can—" The ship trembled violently. A deep, hollow sound echoed through the metal, the kind of sound that told him something big was breaking apart. "Damn it," he muttered. The readings on his wrist showed the atmosphere failing. In less than 10 minutes, this whole section would collapse. He looked at her again. "We need to move, now." She tried to sit up but fell back, gasping. "You can't take me," she said.
"They will kill me."
"Or worse," Ethan blinked. "Who, my people?" She nodded weakly. "Your command. Your scientists. They will cut me open. They will use what's inside me." Her eyes filled with tears that glowed faintly as they rolled down her silver cheeks. "Please, leave me here. Let me end it." He shook his head, his jaw tight. "No, I don't leave anyone behind." Her hand tightened around his. "Then you'll die too." He hesitated, feeling torn between logic and emotion. She might be right. Bringing her back could be a mistake for both of them. But he looked into her eyes, and all he saw was fear and pain. She wasn't a monster. She was just alive. The floor split open near them, releasing another cloud of glowing gas. The sound of the ship's structure twisting filled the air like thunder underwater. He didn't have time to think anymore. He grabbed her under the arms, lifting her gently. She cried out in pain, her body trembling, but she didn't fight him this time. "You're going to make it," he said. "I swear." Her head rested against his chest as he started down the corridor. Each step was harder than the last. The ship groaned and tilted, forcing him to balance with her in his arms. As they passed through a broken doorway, her voice came again. Weak, but clear. "Why do you care so much?" Ethan didn't answer at first. He just kept walking, his boots echoing in the hollow corridor. Then softly he said, "Because someone has to." The words hung in the air like smoke. The light from her body flickered against the walls, casting long shadows that looked almost human. He felt her pulse slow, fading like a song ending too soon. "Stay with me," he whispered. She gave a faint smile. "You humans, always trying to fix what you don't understand." Her voice was fading. Ethan's throat tightened. He could see the escape pod chamber up ahead, just a few hundred meters away. "Almost there," he said. But then her body jerked. The light from her skin flared brighter than before, blinding white. He stumbled, shielding his eyes. When the light faded, she was looking at him, her face calm now, almost peaceful. "If I die," she said, "you'll still have me." Ethan frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer. Her hand slipped from his grip, glowing faintly as it fell to his side. And then he felt it. A strange warmth spreading through his chest, like something had passed from her into him. The ship groaned again, louder this time, and he knew he had seconds before everything collapsed. He pulled her closer and whispered, "Don't you dare die on me," but deep down, As the ship screamed and the air grew thinner, Ethan knew the truth. He had made his choice. And whatever she had warned him about, it had already begun inside him. The light faded slowly, leaving the chamber in a strange half-darkness. Ethan blinked, trying to steady his breathing. The alien girl's glow had dimmed, but not gone. Faint silver lines still moved under her skin, tracing patterns that looked almost like veins of light. He held her close, feeling the cold from her body seep into his armor. She wasn't breathing right. Each inhale came with a sharp sound, like something deep inside her chest was breaking apart. "Stay with me," Ethan whispered. "We're almost out," but she didn't answer. Her eyes were half open, staring at nothing, and yet he could tell she wasn't gone. Her pulse was weak, but there. The ship around them creaked and groaned. Metal folded like paper somewhere in the distance. The blue glow from the walls flickered, and every few seconds a deep vibration ran through the floor, like the heartbeat of something dying. Ethan set her down gently against the wall. He needed to think. His oxygen meter was flashing red, 10 minutes left. The escape pod was still a few corridors away, and carrying her through this maze would take time he didn't have. He turned to her again. Her suit was melting away, the edges burned and cracked. Beneath it, her skin shimmered faintly, and strange shapes pulsed just beneath the surface, while like shadows moving inside light. It wasn't natural. It wasn't normal, and yet, it was beautiful. He reached out carefully, touching the edge of the torn armor. The moment his fingers brushed it, he felt a pulse. Not physical, but mental. A wave of sound without noise, like a thought whispered straight into his mind. "Don't look further." The voice wasn't hers. It came from somewhere deeper, from the armor itself, or maybe from her. Ethan pulled his hand back, heart pounding.
"What the hell?"
he muttered under his breath. Her eyes fluttered open again as if she had heard him. "I told you," she said weakly. "You shouldn't touch it." He knelt beside her. "You're dying. I can't just stand here." "You don't understand what I am," she said. Her voice was faint but clear, like wind brushing against glass. "If you see what's inside me, it will remember you." Ethan frowned. "Remember me? What does that mean?" Her lips trembled. "You'll carry it. My kind was built that way." He didn't have time for riddles. He pressed his hand against her wound again, trying to stop the strange silver liquid from spreading. The substance pulsed under his fingers, warm and soft like living silk. Then something happened. The light from her wound spread up his arm, crawling over his skin beneath his armor. He gasped, pulling away, but the light didn't stop. It flowed into him, vanishing beneath his suit. He looked at his hand. For a second, he saw something move under his skin. Faint, glowing lines like hers. His mind filled with flashes. Images too fast to understand. A sky filled with silver towers. Oceans of light, giant shapes moving between stars. Voices whispering in languages he didn't know but somehow understood. He stumbled back, pressing his hands to his head. The pain was sharp, like fire and ice at once. "What did you do to me?" The girl looked at him with tired eyes. "I didn't do it," she said softly. "You did. You broke the seal." Her armor cracked with a sound like glass shattering. A wave of cold swept through the room. For a moment, Ethan saw what was truly beneath her skin. Not flesh, not bone, but light. Pure light shaped like a living being. Her form flickered, and the air hummed with strange energy. He stared, speechless. "You're not a soldier," he said. "You're something else," she nodded faintly. "I was a keeper. My body holds memories, of worlds, of people, of everything we once were." Ethan's throat went dry. "And now it's inside me?" Her eyes glowed softly. "Yes, you carry it now. My people will live through you." He shook his head. "No, I can't." "You already are," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your mind is changing. You feel it, don't you? The light inside you." He looked at his hands again. They trembled. Faint lines of silver crawling beneath his skin. He could hear whispers now. Distant voices calling his name in 1,000 tones. "What's happening to me?" he whispered. She smiled weakly. "You're remembering." The walls groaned again, snapping him back to reality. The ship was falling apart around them. He had minutes, maybe less. He looked at her, at the strange beauty of her fading light. He could leave her here, escape, and maybe live. Or he could stay, try to save her again, and risk losing himself completely. Her eyes met his one last time. Run, human, she said softly. Before the ship remembers you too. Ethan hesitated, torn between duty and terror. The ship rumbled and pieces of the ceiling began to fall. He reached for her, but as his hand touched her shoulder, she vanished in a burst of light that filled the whole room. When the brightness faded, she was gone. Only her voice remained, echoing inside his mind, calm and gentle. You are one of us now. Ethan stood there, shaking, alone in the dying ship. And when he looked down at his hands, they were still glowing. Silence. The crash site had gone quiet. Too quiet. Ethan stood in the ruined chamber, chest rising and falling fast, staring at the space where the alien girl had vanished. The air around him shimmered faintly, as if the light she left behind refused to die. He took a slow step forward. His boots crunched over broken metal, and every sound echoed like thunder. The smell of ozone hung thick, sharp, electric, alive. She was gone. But she wasn't gone. Ethan could still hear her. Not through sound, but through something deeper. A soft whisper inside his head, calm and sorrowful, like a song played far away. He tried to push it out, but the harder he tried, the louder it grew. Don't be afraid. He froze. The voice wasn't coming from the room. It was inside his mind and inside him. No, he whispered, shaking his head. No, this isn't real. But then the world around him began to flicker. The walls of the ship changed shape, the metal turning translucent. Through it, he could see moving lights, vast cities of silver, towers reaching into endless skies. He blinked and the vision was gone, replaced by darkness again. His heart pounded. His skin burned. The silver lines beneath it glowed brighter. He tore off his gloves and stared at his hands. Faint light ran through his veins like molten silver. The alien's words echoed in his memory. You'll carry it. My people will live through you. He wanted to scream, but instead he fell to his knees, clutching his head as images poured through his mind. A planet covered in crystal forests, oceans made of mist, beings of light walking among stars, then fire, a red sky, worlds collapsing, the same beings falling, burning, screaming, and always one voice calling out through it all, remember us. He gasped and fell forward, pressing his hands to the floor. The metal was cold beneath his palms, but in his mind he was standing in a different place, a memory that wasn't his. He saw her again, the alien girl. But she wasn't broken or weak now. She stood tall, her skin glowing brighter, her eyes full of purpose. Around her stood thousands of others like her, forming a circle of light under a black sky. They were chanting something. He couldn't understand the words, but he felt the meaning. It was a promise, to preserve their people no matter what happened. He saw her raise her hands to the stars, and a beam of light shot from her body into the sky. Then everything turned white. Ethan fell back, gasping for air. Sweat rolled down his face. His pulse raced like fire. He wasn't just seeing her memories. He was living them. The ship groaned again, snapping him back to reality. The heat was rising. The air was growing thinner. His oxygen meter blinked, 5 minutes left. He stumbled to his feet, his head spinning. Get it together, he muttered. You're still here. You're still human, but a voice inside him whispered, are you? He looked around. The blue light from the alien walls pulsed with every beat of his heart. It was as if the ship was connected to him now, reacting to his emotions. When he stepped forward, the lights followed. When he breathed, they flickered. He could feel the ship, its fear, its pain, its dying heartbeat. It was alive, and somehow it was part of him now. He reached the corridor leading to the escape pod. The path was blocked by debris, twisted panels glowing faintly. He touched one, and it moved by itself. The metal bent away, clearing the path. Ethan froze. No way. He looked down at his hand again. The glow beneath his skin was stronger now, swirling like silver fire. He wasn't just seeing memories anymore. He was changing, the alien girl's voice returned. Soft and gentle. You carry me, Ethan. You carry all of us. He closed his eyes, her name echoing in his mind, though he had never heard it before. Ilara. Her memories filled his head again, softer this time. He saw her holding a small crystal sphere, light flowing inside it like water. She whispered to it, tears in her eyes. Find them. Save them. Then he understood. The thing inside her, the memory seed, wasn't a weapon. It was her people's history, their entire existence saved in fragments of living light. And now, it was inside him. He staggered into the escape pod chamber. The door's scanner flashed red, rejecting his human ID. He placed his glowing hand on it without thinking, and the scanner turned green. The door opened silently. He stepped inside, collapsing into the seat. His head throbbed. The whispers in his mind grew softer, almost peaceful now. The ship shook one last time as the pod launched, breaking free from the collapsing wreck. Through the small window, he watched the alien ship explode in a burst of silver light, scattering across the black sky like a dying star. Ethan sat still, staring into the void, the girl's voice fading into a whisper. "Now you remember. Keep us alive." He touched his chest, feeling the faint glow beneath his armor. He wasn't sure what he had become. But one thing was certain. He was no longer just human. The stars drifted by like ghosts. Ethan sat inside the escape pod, his body trembling as the soft hum of the engines filled the silence. His helmet lay beside him, cracked and useless. His breath came out in shallow bursts, fogging the glass. Outside, the burning remains of the alien ship floated in space, glowing fragments that slowly faded into nothing. Each one looked like a falling star, beautiful and tragic. He should have felt relief. He had survived. He had escaped, but he didn't feel human anymore. His hands still glowed faint silver, faint traces of light pulsing under his skin like veins made of stars. When he closed his eyes, he didn't see darkness. He saw her. The alien girl, Alara. Her face, her voice, her memories, all of it was still alive inside him. And now they were his. He pressed a hand to his chest. The heartbeat there didn't feel like his own anymore. It was slower, deeper, almost like two hearts beating together. "You carry us now." Her words echoed in his mind again. He whispered to the empty pod, "You said I'd remember you." "But this," he broke off, shaking his head. "This isn't remembering. This is drowning." His vision blurred as another wave of memories hit him, not his, but hers. He saw her people again, tall, luminous beings standing on cliffs of white crystal watching their sky burn. He saw children running through glowing fields, laughter ringing like bells, and then on fire, ships falling, screams in the light. He clutched his head and screamed. The images came too fast, each one slicing into his mind like glass. Every emotion, fear, loss, pain, rushed through him until he couldn't breathe. He slammed his fist against the console. "Stop it, stop." But the memories didn't stop, because they weren't just memories. They were lives. Every one of them was a real person with love, dreams, and death. And now all of them were trapped inside him. Tears ran down his face. He didn't even realize it until one dropped onto his arm, catching the faint glow. It shimmered silver for a moment before vanishing, like even his tears were no longer human. He laughed softly, brokenly. "You did it, Alara. You made me your memory." A soft voice answered inside his mind. "No, Ethan, I made you our home." He froze. "You're still here, part of me, part of all of us." Her voice was calm, gentle, but it carried a sadness too deep for words. He leaned back against the seat. "Then tell me, what am I now?" There was a long silence. Then, "You are what humans always become when they love something they don't understand. Broken and beautiful." Ethan swallowed hard. "You call this beautiful?" "You feel pain that isn't yours. You cry for lives that ended before you were born. Only a human could call that a curse. My kind called it a gift." He stared out at the stars, eyes empty. "I don't want to be a goddamn museum of the dead." "Then don't be," she whispered. "Be their future." The pod beeped softly, a proximity alert. A rescue beacon was picking up his signal. "Earth command." They were coming. For a moment, hope sparked in his chest. Maybe they could fix him. Maybe he could go back. But then her voice returned, quieter now. "If you return to them, they'll find me and you. They'll cut you open, Ethan. And what they find will not be me. It will be power." He froze. "They'd weaponize it." Yes, his mind raced. The images of his world flashed through his thoughts. Soldiers, labs, endless hunger for control. He knew she was right. Humanity would not see what he carried as sacred. They'd see it as useful. He looked down at his glowing hands. "Then what do I do?" Alara's voice was soft, fading. "Keep moving. Hide the light. When the time is right, you'll know." "Know what?" "That you were never meant to save one life, but billions." Her voice faded completely. Silence filled his head again. Ethan sat there staring into the void. The rescue signal blinked brighter. He could see the distant glimmer of human ships approaching. His people. His world. But as he watched, he felt something deep inside him fracture. He wasn't one of them anymore. He wasn't one of her kind either. He was something between human heart, alien soul. He closed his eyes. The whispers in his mind softened into quiet music, a melody that sounded like hope and sorrow woven together. When he opened his eyes again, his tears glowed faint silver. Ethan whispered to the stars, "If this is what saving means, maybe being broken is worth it." The pod kept drifting through the dark, carrying one man who was now a universe, a bridge between two dying species. And though no one could hear him, somewhere in the endless silence of space, a soft echo answered back, "We're still here." The rescue ship found the pod drifting in silence 3 days later. It was small, half-burned, floating near the edge of a dying star system. The pod's beacon still blinked, but faintly, like a heartbeat slowly fading. Inside sat Ethan. He was still alive, though barely. His armor was scorched, his face pale, eyes open but distant, as if he had been staring into the dark for far too long. The rescue team pulled the pod aboard. They rushed him to the medical bay, attaching scanners, oxygen feeds, monitors. But something strange happened. The moment the machines touched his skin, their lights flickered. The power dipped. The chief medic frowned. "He's interfering with the systems." They tried again. The scanners went dark a second time. Ethan's voice broke the silence. "Don't bother. I'm fine." Everyone froze. His voice was soft, but it carried something inhuman, a calm that didn't belong to someone half dead. The medic stepped forward. "Lie still, soldier. You've been out for days." Ethan smiled weakly. "Days? It feels longer than that." The medic studied him carefully. "What happened out there?" Ethan didn't answer at first. His eyes drifted to the window, to the stars outside. They shimmered faintly like they were breathing. For a long moment he just watched. Then he said quietly, "I saw a world die, and I brought it back." No one understood what he meant. They thought it was trauma, shock, madness. But the chief noticed something. Ethan's pupils reflected silver when the light hit them. When they touched his arm to draw blood, the needle bent. His skin glowed faintly where they had pressed. "Get command," the medic whispered. Now, within hours they had him isolated. Cameras watched him from every corner. He sat quietly, never fighting, never shouting, just waiting. They sent a transmission to Earth Command. "Subject found, survivor, but something's wrong." Ethan could hear them outside his cell. He could hear everything. The hum of the ship's engines, the distant buzz of power lines, even the slow rhythm of their hearts. He wasn't supposed to, but he could. The connection inside him was growing stronger. Sometimes he still heard Alara's voice, soft, like the wind through glass. "Be their bridge." He didn't know what that meant yet. But he knew one thing. If he told them the truth, they would take her from him. And he couldn't let that happen. When Command's hologram appeared before him, a tall, cold officer in a clean white uniform, Ethan sat up straight. "Lieutenant Ethan Graves," the officer said. "You're a hard man to find." Ethan gave a small nod. "I tried to stay that way." "We recovered the wreckage," the officer continued. "Alien craft, unknown design, all data lost. But we found you. We need to know what happened." Ethan's eyes flickered with faint silver light. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." "Try me," the officer said. Ethan was silent for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "I met someone. She wasn't human. But she wasn't my enemy either. She was dying, and I tried to save her." The officer frowned. "Did you succeed?" Ethan gave a small broken smile. "Depends on how you define success." The officer leaned forward. "And the alien?" "Her body." Ethan's voice turned distant. "Gone. Destroyed?" He looked up slowly. "No, remembered." The officer didn't understand, but something in Ethan's eyes made him uneasy. "Lieutenant," the officer said carefully, "you're being taken to Earth. You'll be examined by specialists. We'll find out what happened to you." Ethan lowered his gaze. "You'll try." That night, as the ship traveled through the black sea of space, Ethan sat alone in his room. The lights dimmed and the hum of the engines blended with the whispers in his mind. Not frightening anymore, but familiar. He closed his eyes and saw them again. The alien race, the glowing towers, the endless sky. And Alara standing among them, smiling. Her voice came softly. They will fear you, Ethan, but one day they'll understand. He whispered back, when? When they finally see the light inside themselves. The next morning the crew found his room empty. The camera showed no one entering or leaving. Only a faint glow lingered in the air, fading like starlight. Hours later a transmission appeared on the ship's console. Unsigned, untraceable. The message was short. She asked me not to remove her clothes. I did, and I saw everything. Now I carry her people inside me. Tell Earth this, the stars are watching. And they remember. The message ended with a soft pulse of silver light that filled the room, and then vanished. No one ever saw Ethan again. But sometimes, when explorers travel too far from home, their radios catch a faint, human voice whispering through the static and calm, warm and filled with light. Don't be afraid. We're still here. And somewhere beyond the edge of the known stars, a single light moves against the dark, glowing softly like a heartbeat in the void.